Welcome to Best of Biology. This video lecture is a continuation series of the topic Life Processes. We have discussed in part 1 the process of nutrition in various organisms. The food we take in during the process of nutrition is used to provide energy in the form of glucose. The process of how this energy is produced by breakdown, that is oxidation of food involving oxygen, is called as respiration. In today's lecture, we will be discussing the process of respiration. The word respiration has been originated from the word respire. It's a Latin word that means breathe again and again. But respiration process is much more than this. Respiration is a biochemical process in which the cells of organisms obtain energy by combining glucose from food with the oxygen that we breathe. The energy that is produced is in the form of a chemical compound named as ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Thus, respiration includes breathing. Breathing is simply inhalation of oxygen and exhalation of carbon dioxide. I hope this is clear that respiration and breathing are two different concepts. Breathing is a physical process that involves exchange of gases. But respiration is a metabolic process and it involves breathing. This is oxidation of food to release energy. This energy is then utilized to carry out various life processes like control and coordination and many other cellular activities like muscle contraction in the body of the organism. We saw that during respiration, energy is released. This energy is then used to synthesize ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, by combining ADP, adenosine diphosphate, with inorganic phosphate. Inorganic phosphate is a combination of phosphorus and oxygen. ADP and PI, that is inorganic phosphate, are present in our body cells and they are used to form ATP. This ATP that is released during respiration is stored in our body cells, and when the cell needs energy, this ATP can be utilized. Thus, ATP is also called as energy currency of the cell. When cell needs energy, ATP is broken down to ADP and inorganic phosphate and a fixed amount of energy is released. This energy then can be used for various cellular activities. We have now understood that during respiration, glucose is oxidized to produce energy. The oxidation of glucose occurs in cytoplasm of the cell and a molecule of pyruvate is produced. This process is called as glycolysis. Different organisms have adopted different ways for complete breakdown of glucose. They utilize pyruvate in different ways, and this depends on the presence or absence of oxygen. If the process occurs in the presence of oxygen, it is called as aerobic respiration. And if it occurs in the absence of oxygen, it is called as anaerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration are two types of respiration, and we will now discuss the two in detail. The organisms that use oxygen break the pyruvate into carbon dioxide, water and 38 molecules of ATP. This process is called as Krebs cycle and it occurs in mitochondria of the cell. This whole process by which complete breakdown of glucose takes place in the presence of oxygen to release a large amount of energy is called as aerobic respiration. Now, when oxygen is absent, partial breakdown of pyruvate occurs and two molecules of ATP are generated along with ethanol and carbon dioxide. This process is called as fermentation and it occurs in yeast organisms. Partial breakdown of pyruvate also occurs in human muscle cells when we run short of oxygen. We know this that during vigorous exercises we start breathing fast. This is because insufficient oxygen is felt by our body cells. During this time, in muscle cells, partial breakdown of pyruvate occurs and lactic acid along with two molecules of energy in the form of ATP is released. This process, where respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen, is called as anaerobic respiration. Let us see now an overview of two types of respiration with the help of chemical equations. Glucose, a 6-carbon molecule, is broken down to pyruvate, a 3-carbon molecule, in cytoplasm. This process is called as glycolysis. How this pyruvate releases energy depends on the presence or absence of oxygen. If oxygen is absent, that is, in case of anaerobic respiration, pyruvate breaks into ethanol, carbon dioxide, and two molecules of ATP. This process is called as fermentation and occurs in yeast. In human muscle cells also, partial breakdown of pyruvate releases two molecules of ATP, but here lactic acid is produced. In the presence of oxygen, complete breakdown of pyruvate releases 38 molecules of ATP along with carbon dioxide and water. This process occurs in mitochondria and it is called as aerobic respiration. Let us discuss now respiration in plants. All parts of the plant body participate in respiration, but roots, leaves, and stem actively perform the process of respiration. Root hairs present in roots take in oxygen from the soil through their epidermal cells. This occurs by diffusion process. Root hairs then transfer the oxygen to other parts of the roots and plant body. The oxygen that is absorbed is used in the transport of nutrients in various parts of the plant. In all the small plants, that is herbs, leaves contain small pores on their surface called as stomata that help in the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Guard cells are present in stomata that regulate this process. Stems of the herbaceous plant also possess stomata that causes gaseous exchange via diffusion process. In the stem of higher and woody plants, the stomata are absent and a different types of pores called as lenticels are present that help in respiration. The direction of diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide in plants is affected by many factors like environmental conditions, requirements of the plant, and especially by the time of the day. So let us see how this main factor, that is time of the day, impacts the gaseous exchange in plants. During daytime, both photosynthesis and respiration occur in plants, but the CO2 released by plants during respiration is used up in photosynthesis, and thus net amount of CO2, that is net amount of carbon dioxide released during the daytime, is negligible. Hence we can say that during daytime carbon dioxide is taken in and oxygen is released by the plants. At night, when there is no photosynthesis in plants and only respiration takes place, CO2 is given out and oxygen is taken in by the plants during night time. Net results of the time of the day can be understood clearly by the diagram. Now let us understand about respiration in simple organisms. We know that all organisms are diverse in their structure. Some have simplest body structure like that of unicellular organisms, while others have complex body like that of multicellular organisms. And on the basis of this complexity in structure, organisms have adopted different respiratory organs for gaseous exchange in their body. Some examples are unicellular organisms. Since unicellular organisms lack body organs and they have a single cell performing all the body activities, respiration in them occur through body surface. that is cell membrane, and thus their mode of respiration is called surface respiration due to respiration by body surface. Second, aquatic animals. Aquatic animals like fishes breathe through gills and their respiration is termed as branchial respiration because gills look like branches. See the picture. Insects like cockroaches respire through spiracles and tracheae. Due to their respiration is known as tracheal respiration. Worms, including earthworm, leeches, etc., are very thin. They respire through skin and their mode of respiration is called as cutaneous respiration. All mammals, including birds, humans, and reptiles, breathe through lungs and their mode of respiration is called as pulmonary respiration. Amphibians, like frogs, have two modes of respiration. When they are young, that is tadpole, that is the larval stage of the frog, has gills, while adult frog breathe through lungs. Thus they have evolved two modes of respiration, that is bronchial respiration and pulmonary respiration. There are some important features of the respiratory organs and these features are common in all the organisms. Let us know these features. First is that the surface of respiratory organs is large enough so as to help in maximum absorption of oxygen to meet the body requirements of the organism. Secondly, the walls of respiratory organs are very thin so that exchange of gases can occur easily through them. And lastly, respiratory organs are delicate because they have thin walls. Thus, there need to be other passages in the body of the organism to let the air move in and out of the body. Do you know that breathing rate in aquatic animals is faster than that of terrestrial animals? This is because of the fact that amount of oxygen dissolved in water is much less than that present in the air, due to which aquatic animals have to breathe faster. Let us understand now the most interesting thing, that is human respiration. The human respiratory system comprises of many organs including nose, nasal cavity or nasal passage, pharynx, larynx, tracheae, bronchi, lungs, bronchioles and alveoli. Let's see how does the air, that is oxygen, enters in the body and how does the exchange of gases takes place in humans. Air is taken into the body through nostrils. Nostrils are small passages present externally on the nose. This air passes into the nasal passage where it is filtered off the dust particles. This is possible because fine hair and mucus are present in the nasal cavity. The air then passes into pharynx. Pharynx is the throat area. Rings of cartilage are present here to regulate the passage of air. From pharynx, air passes to a tube or pipe-like structure called as tracheae. Tracheae is also known as windpipe. The enlarged upper end of tracheae is called as larynx or sound box. From tracheae, air passes to bronchi. Each bronchus, that is singular of bronchi, enter a lung where they branch into bronchioles. The air from bronchioles reaches tiny pockets-like structure called as alveolar sac, in which alveoli are present. Alveoli are the main site of respiration because exchange of gases take place here. Let us learn about mechanism of respiration in humans. When we breathe in air, our ribs move up and diaphragm flattens, due to which the area of our chest, that is the chest cavity, expands and the air rushes into the lungs from the atmosphere and reaches the alveoli. Alveoli are surrounded by blood vessels that carry this oxygen from alveoli to other parts of the body. At the same time, carbon dioxide from the body organs is carried back to the alveoli from where it is exhaled out. The gases, that is carbon dioxide and oxygen, move in and out of the body by diffusion. Diffusion is a process in which molecules move from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Since the concentration of oxygen is more outside, that is in the atmosphere, than our body, air moves into our body. Opposite is the case of carbon dioxide that moves from our body into the surrounding atmosphere. Do you know that this diffusion pressure is a very slow process and it is not sufficient to meet our oxygen requirements because of the large size of the body. Thus, we have a respiratory pigment, that is hemoglobin, present in our red blood cells. Hemoglobin has very high affinity for oxygen. One hemoglobin molecule can bind to 4 oxygen molecules, and thus it makes it easy for our body to deliver oxygen in every part of the body. I have discussed how one hemoglobin molecule can bind to 4 oxygen molecules in my circulatory system part 1 video. So please go and check it out. This was all about our second life process, that is respiration. Thanks for watching.